All right, let's talk about the New York session. Have you ever felt like it's just designed to chew you up and spit you out? Yeah, you're not alone. It's fast, it's chaotic, and it can feel totally random. But what if I told you all that chaos is actually a script? Well, today we're going to decode that script. We're going to give you a clear, actionable playbook to master the most decisive part of the trading day. Let's dive in.
I love this quote because it gets it. The New York session isn't just another 4 hours on the chart. It is the final act of a daily drama. The story starts way back in Asia. The plot develops in London, but the climax, the big twist, the final showdown, that all happens right here. This is where the big money finally shows its hand and writes the ending. And our job is to figure out what they're doing before the credits roll. And just look at this number for a second. Let it really sink in. $1.3 trillion. That is the sheer amount of money sloshing around every single day during this session. Now, that's not just market noise. That is a full-blown financial hurricane. And for us, well, that means two things. Absolutely incredible opportunities for profit, and if we're not careful, the potential for absolutely devastating losses.
So, how in the world do we tame this beast? Well, here's our game plan. First up, we're going to understand why New York is the main event. Then we'll get into the real secret sauce, decoding London's story. From there, we'll break it all down into 2 simple plays and a 3-step execution plan. And finally, we'll talk about the most important part, mastering your risk and your mind. Let's get to it.
So what makes New York the boss? Really, it all comes down to a perfect storm 3 things. First, you got to think of it as the end of the business day for major institutions. They're closing out their books, finalizing huge positions, and that just creates massive moves. Second, for about 4 hours, it overlaps with London. It's like having 2 financial superpowers in the same room. And third, the US stock market opens, which is basically like pouring gasoline on an already raging fire.
Okay, I need you to pay close attention here, because this is probably the single most important concept we're going to cover. The New York session is never random. It is always a reaction to what happened in London. Think of London as the first half of a movie. New York is the second half. It either follows that script to a pretty predictable ending, or bam, it hits you with a mind-blowing plot twist. Our job is to figure out which one it's going to be.
And speaking of plot twists, here is one of their absolute favorite tricks, the Judas swing. This thing is pure deception. It's when the big players intentionally push the price in the wrong direction. Why? To trick retail traders like us into jumping on the wrong side. They want to trigger our stops, grab our liquidity, and then, once they've collected all that cash, they slam the price in the opposite direction, the way they intended to go all along. If you can learn to spot this move, you're already way ahead of the game.
This table right here, this is your secret weapon. It's your cheat sheet for figuring out the plot. It shows you how to combine London's story with the bigger picture, what we call the higher time frame bias. So for example, let's look at that third row. Let's say during London, gold has been rocketing up all morning. It looks super strong, but it runs right into a major daily supply zone, a place where price has been rejected before. So what do you think is probably going to happen in New York? Yep, the smart money is betting on a reversal. See, this isn't about guessing, it's about stacking probabilities in your favor. So with that little map in our back pocket, we can actually boil down all the madness of the New York session into just 2 simple plays. That's it. It's either going to be a continuation of what London already started, or it's going to be a dramatic reversal. Your entire job is to figure out which of these 2 scripts is playing out, and then just get on the right side of the move. Let's break these down. On the left, you've got the continuation. This is pretty straightforward. London sets a clear trend, safe for BTC. New York opens up, gives us a little dip, basically a discount, and then it's off to the races in the same direction. But then you have the reversal. This one is a little bit more sneaky. London pushes price to a new high, but it kind of stalls out. It looks exhausted. New York comes in, takes out that high one last time to grab all the stop losses, and then bam, it slams the door shut, sending the price tanking.
Now, knowing the plays is one thing, but actually executing them when the market is flying and your heart's pounding, that's a whole different ballgame. In those moments, you need a system, not emotions. So here it is, a simple 3-step execution plan that will keep you grounded and focused. This is your ritual.
Here's the plan. Step 1. Prepare. Before the session even starts, you are marking your battlefield, the London high, the London low, key supply and demand zones. Step 2. Wait. And this is the hard part. You wait with the patience of a sniper, letting the first 15 to 30 minutes of chaos just play out. And then, step 3. Strike. When you see your signal at your level, you pull the trigger without hesitation. Prepare. Wait. Strike.
So what exactly are we looking for in step 3? Well, we need a clear signal that the big players are finally making their move. An engulfing bar, for example, tells you one side has just been completely steamrolled. A pin bar shows you a violent rejection. Price tried to go one way and got smacked back down. And a market structure shift? That's the ultimate confirmation that the trend has changed. These aren't just random patterns, people. They're the footprints of smart money.
Okay, listen to me very, very carefully. If you take only one thing away from this entire explainer, let it be this. Do not trade the first 15 minutes. That opening spike is a trap. It is specifically designed to take your money. If you can just learn to sit on your hands for a few minutes, you will avoid becoming the fuel for the big banks' moves. Let them show their hand first.
Look, a great strategy is like having a really sharp sword. But if you walk onto the battlefield without a suit of armor, you're still going to get taken out. That armor, that's your risk management and your trading psychology. It's what protects you from fear and greed, and it's what will keep you in this game long enough to actually be profitable.
Let's be real for a second. We've all been here. Every single one of us. We felt that sting of FOMO, chasing a trade we know we shouldn't. We've jumped in impulsively. We felt the frustration of impatience. These aren't just words on a screen, they're the little demons that live inside every trader. And the honest truth is, you can't win in the market until you win the battle against yourself.
So, this isn't a suggestion. These are commands. This is your risk checklist, and it is absolutely non-negotiable. You will always use a stop loss. You will always know where you're getting out before you get in. You will always calculate your position size. You will never, ever trade just because you're bored, and you will always review your trades. These are the rules that will keep you alive to fight another day. And there you have it, a complete playbook for tackling the New York session. We've learned how to read London's story, we've armed ourselves with 2 powerful plays, and we have a simple 3-step plan for execution. But you know what? The best traders are always learning, and that's where you come in.
I really want to hear from you. Do you trade the New York session? What's the biggest lesson you've ever learned from it? The hard way or the easy way? Is there a certain setup or a currency pair that's your go-to? Drop your wisdom in the comments below. Let's build a community of sharp, disciplined traders right here. Thanks for watching.